I see. Gaming. It's so hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, CinCinSalabin in the building. You already know who it is. With my guest today,
It's SoodisGood. I'm back for another episode of the NBA Chronicles. Today we're going to be talking about the trade that went down between the Toronto Raptors and the San Antonio Spurs. Just want to kick it off by actually talking about the trade a little bit here. We saw the San Antonio Spurs ship Kawhi Leonard to Toronto along with Danny Green and a little bit of money to cover Kawhi's trade kicker for Demar Derozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a 2019 first-round pick. It's heavily protected, 1 through 20, so I don't see the Spurs actually getting the pick next year, so it will become 2 second-rounders. So I think it's a good trade for both teams. How are you feeling about this?
that is a solid deal. When we first had thought about it, we were trying to figure out, why the Spurs had just settled for that. But at the same time, we just cleared our minds a bit, took a little bit more thought, and it makes sense for both teams.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I see the Raptors doing this because they wanted to get rid of that contract they gave DeMar DeRozan. They will take the 1-year rental they get with Kawhi. Even if he leaves, that'll leave them with options at the 2019-2020 season if they want to trade Lowry, who'll be an expiring, and if they want to trade Serge, who might be an expiring. So that gives them more flexibility if they do want to rebuild with their bench mob and the young guys they have. And really, they only gave up maybe their 4th or 5th best young guy, so not too much other than DeMar. And I think it works for the Spurs because Kawhi Leonard didn't want to be there, and Greg Popovich has mentioned, not necessarily mentioned, but there are rumors he's done after the 2020 season, after he coaches USA basketball.
That's correct, because Coach K decided that he wanted to just put all his interest inside of Duke College, and Pop is now taking over.
So we'll see how USA minicamp goes, but a little more here with the teams themselves. How do you see this the trade and the players that were traded to the teams fitting in with their new teams?
So as far as the lineup goes, I think we're just going to start off with the Spurs first. I see DeJounte Murray at the 1 for the point.
Okay.
DeRozan at the 2, or who is their new?
Lonnie Walker.
Walker the 4th. There we go. Lonnie Walker the 4th. Aldridge at the 4, and Powell starting, but midway through the season, we're going to include Jakob Poeltl, considering that he's young. He has a lot of room to grow. And then I just see him as a good closer.
I agree. I think that would be a good fit. Jakob Poeltl actually closed some games out for the Raptors last year, and I believe some in the playoffs as well. Not too sure, so don't quote me on that. But great pickup, great young guy they got. And like I said, the Spurs' timeline is maybe the next 2 years, so they got a great player. And that starting lineup sounds perfect for me. I do think you have to take the shot of starting Lonnie Walker. He's a defensive beast, and he'll fit great next to DeMar because we know DeMar for scoring a whole lot of points, not necessarily for that defense. But let's switch gears a little bit towards this Toronto Raptors. How you feeling about that fit with Kawhi? What are you looking at with the starting lineup?
I'm going to let you go ahead and take over with that.
So I see it a little different than maybe some others do. I actually see, obviously, Lowry starting at the point, but I think they should start OG Anunoby at the 2. Last year, he played great at the 3, defending and shooting threes, but his offensive game is raw. But he will learn so much from Kawhi, even just on the defensive end. And Kawhi, let's be honest, is a beast on the defensive end.
As long as he stays healthy as well.
Health is, we're going to talk about this whole thing thinking that health doesn't play a factor and everything goes well. The 4, I got Serge Ibaka. And I have starting, I have Jonas Valanciunas. But again, last year we saw Jakob Poeltl closing out games for them.
Yeah.
This year we may see Pascal Siakam. Or they may go small ball, entering Danny Green into that closing lineup and moving Serge to the 5 spot. So that's how I see Toronto going in their lineup, and that's how I feel about Toronto's lineup in terms of Kawhi and Danny Green. So we just wanted to go over some of the predictions. So what do you want to go with the Raptors? How you feeling with them in the playoffs or their regular season?
So that's pretty easy. They've been consistently going to the playoffs at a higher seed. I don't see them being seed 1, considering if the Celtics, since you said health wasn't an issue, Celtics with Hayward and Kyrie Irving, I just see Raptors at the 2.
Okay, so you do have them above Philly, so I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Raptors number 2 behind the Celtics. I just feel like Celtics have too much depth, too much star power. Let's be honest, Al Horford doesn't get enough credit for what he does for that team.
Yeah.
So I see them as the 1, but I see Toronto, even though it's a gamble, really being able to lock down number 2, if not number 1. And I see them making a deep playoff push, maybe to the Eastern Conference Finals, possibly to the finals, but that would be a big upset over the Celtics.
Yeah, so that was just a pretty easy choice, just simply because the East is also just wide open, considering LeBron is gone and he's went on for other endeavors in the West.
Yep.
How do you see the Spurs seeding this year?
So the Spurs seeding is not as easy as the Raptors, obviously. We're in the Wild Wild West where pretty much every team other than the Sacramento Kings have a chance to getting into the playoffs. I think everybody other than the Kings has gotten a lot better. The Suns added a first pick. The Mavericks added a third pick. So I don't necessarily have a direct answer on that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the 7th or 8th seed. And don't be offended because I said that, because the Spurs are going to be a 7th or 8th seed with DeMar, and without him, they were a 7th seed. But that's the honest truth. Golden State's going to be 1. Then we have a whole bunch of teams in between trying to get from 2 to 8. So I don't know where they'll be, but I do think they will make the playoffs in this case. So I think it was a great trade for both teams, but Spurs aren't going to get back to title contender status with DeMar as their best player, or even LaMarcus. So,
and then what you want to wrap up with final thought?
Final thought here on this trade. I just want to point out that Kawhi Leonard kind of feels forgotten as to how good he was.
Mm-hmm.
There are media personalities and people talking about how he's being a brat, basically, and he is trying to get himself to LA. And I don't see anything wrong with that. He should do what makes him happy, and if playing for the Lakers makes him happy, he can go there next year. But great trade for both teams. Both teams kind of get what they want. Not sure if the players in the trade are happy, but the teams are definitely happy with the trade. How you feeling? Final thoughts?
Well, he did also say LA, so Clippers might try and do something to grab him. Honestly, I don't want to shift the attention away from Kawhi, but what I see is I see if the Lakers do all their one-year contracts, end it off this year, next year I already see an open door for Kawhi in the Lakers.
I agree.
As far as I guess overall with the business end for the Raptors, yeah, they're rebuilding. They've already got a new coach. Lowry, like you said, Lowry's contract, Ibaka's contract. They're trying to do something with that. Just get rid of it in total.
Yeah.
If Kawhi decides to leave, he'll leave. If he stays, he stays. But Raptors are rebuilding. Spurs are also rebuilding once Pop, if he leaves. If Pop leaves, they are at that point they're rebuilding. Spurs are an older team. Ginobili might go after this season.
Parker's already gone.
Aldridge probably only has maybe 5 seasons left in him.
I don't think they're 5 peak seasons, maybe 2 peak and 3 on the down end. So he's in his mid-30s already.
Yeah.
He's 33, 34 maybe. So we'll see where it goes. But I don't think this is a long-term plan. This was a short-term trade to be, contenders or even be in the playoffs now.
Yeah. So once that's said and done, they're probably going to go in a rebuilding process. And I don't see them entering the playoffs until, well, who knows, when we see their new picks for 2020, 2021, so on and so forth, or who's their coach going to be, what kind of offense or defense they're trying to run. So that one's up in the air. As far as Toronto, it seems like their plans are clear and cut.
Correct. I agree with that. Thank you for having me on the channel again. You guys let us know if you like this type of video again. We did one about LeBron and the Lakers, and the link will be in the description for that. But if you guys like these types of videos, let us know. Comment, like, subscribe. We will be putting out more content like this. So we look forward to your replies and your critics.
And let us know if you have anything that you'd like to include, if you disagree with something, if you agree with something. Continue the conversation down below in the comments after the pinned comment with not only the link of the video like SoodisGood had explained before, but just what your thoughts may be. And with that, peace out, Cub Scout.